Here we are with today's On the Air program. Glad you're with us on WDEH AM 800 and WDEHradio.com. We've got a special guest in studio with us. He's been here a time or two over the years, well known in Sweetwater. Doc Hugh McCampbell. His 17th annual Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert is coming up this Saturday, March the 15th at 7 p.m. at the Sweetwater Broad Street Elementary School. And as every year, this benefits the Prostate Cancer Foundation, local Boy Scouts troops, Sweetwater Valley Citizens for the Arts as well. Doc Hugh, welcome to the studios.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So you've been in here in the past and talked about the Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert. 17th annual, 17th year you're going to be doing this. How'd you get started with it?
Well, when TMG left town, they donated several vans to the police department, and they donated a real nice grand piano to the Sweetwater school system. And when I saw that, I thought, man, I could have a concert and help raise some money for some worthwhile causes. That's where it all started, actually.
Wow. So how did the very first one go?
Oh, real fine. I enjoyed it. And, of course, it's kind of neat to hear folks' response. And I know several people didn't know I could play the piano a little bit, so they were kind of surprised. And I think some of them kind of came with curiosity to see what all was going on.
For years, how many years were you a veterinarian in here in the area?
We came here in 1975. In about a week or two, it'll be exactly 50 years ago.
So when you're in agriculture, working with animals, you're out there doctoring a cow, we won't say maybe where you have your arm and things like that, people don't tend to think, well, I bet he can sit down and tickle a piano.
Well, yeah, that's a little different for somebody to be able to, shoe a horse and pull a calf or something and sit down and play a little bit of piano.
What reactions have you gotten over the years when people, you're in your outdoor gear, you're in your boots, cowboy shirt, cowboy hat, and then you sit down and start playing a piano? Do you get some interesting reactions?
Well, they get real quiet, usually. And many times they'll ask me, what else do you know? Mm-hmm. Or do you know this song or that song? And so I if I know it, I play it for them. And a common response that I give people is, I know the song, but I never have practiced it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Growing up in agriculture, how did you then get into playing instruments?
Well, there was always music around our house at home. My mother was the vocal soloist with the University of Tennessee Concert Band when she was a student at UT in the late 30s, 37, 38, 39. And she was quite an accomplished pianist and organist and played those at the church where I grew up. And my daddy, of course, he was a farmer, dairy farmer and so forth. He could really sing. He didn't really play the piano or any instrument, but he could really sing. And I'd look back on things, and it was really a treat to, whenever we might get them together and have time for a mama to play for him to sing. And my brothers, I have two younger brothers, and we all played in the high school band, and we all also played my little brother had a ukulele. That's what we started on, and then my other brother got a guitar about the same time I got a banjo, which was when I was about in the 8th grade, and so we started playing those instruments there. And
what all instruments do you play, and which ones are do you typically play?
Oh, I don't know, played the piano and the plectrum banjo, which is a ragtime style banjo. Played the guitar in rock and roll bands and folk groups and Boy Scout campfires and things like that. Played the trumpet in the high school band, and I switched to the French horn. And then in college, I played the French horn in the orchestra at Maryville. I played a year of football over there, and I'd get out of practice about 5:30 on Mondays and go eat supper, and I'd go to orchestra rehearsal. And when people ask me what I played in college, I say, well, I played the French horn and halfback. So enjoyed both sides of campus, you might say. But I played the piano the most. I took a few lessons, just a few months when I was about in the 3rd grade, and I wanted to play baseball and ride ponies more than practice the piano, so I quit. But I knew chords from playing the guitar and the banjo, And when I was about a junior or senior in high school, started playing some of the rock and roll songs on the radio and making up some rock and roll songs myself. And then as I got into college, I kind of thought, well, I don't remember how that chord progression goes for that song. Maybe this song would sound, it has the same chord progression. So I started learning to play songs. Unchained Melody is one of the first ones I learned how to play, and Ebb Tide is another one. And then I started playing hymns, and just I can read music, but I, of course, having played the trumpet and the French horn, but I can't sight read, which is instantly playing something that you just open a hymn book and play it. I have to learn the melody and then figure out chords to play. So I do a lot of it by ear, and I just kind of play like I can is really the simplest way to say, instead of playing things right, you might say.
Doc Hugh McCampbell, our guest on today's edition of On the Air. His 17th annual Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert is coming up this Saturday, March the 15th, 7 p.m. at the Sweetwater Broad Street Elementary School. Tickets are available now and will be sold at the door as well. For one that may come to one of your concerts, obviously we've touched on playing piano, banjo, things like that, but you like to tell a few tales.
Yeah, I enjoy telling tales.
Anybody that knows you knows you like a joke every now and then, and kind of a Baxter Black type style is, and I know you really like him.
Yeah.
Just tell people what to expect.
Well, I tell tales associated with being an Army veterinarian and being in practice, being raised on a dairy farm, and doing athletics at Maryville College and things like that. Baxter Black and I were friends. In fact, early in his career in 1975, when he was still reading his poems from a notebook where he had his poems in plastic pages, he had his notebook on a stool. He came to entertain the East Tennessee Veterinary Medical Association in Gatlinburg. And after the banquet was over, he and I got to talking, and we spent a couple of hours sitting on the steps outside the swimming pool at the motel swapping tales. And so I'd see him at veterinary conventions and beef cattle conventions, and we'd always visit and see how each other were doing. And he remembered doing that, so that was kind of neat.
In the past, when you've come and done the radio program with me ahead of one of your concerts, we kind of turn the program into maybe a little taste of what people might experience. So you got a tale or two for us you'd like to share?
Well, yeah. When I was in veterinary school, we lived in student housing down at Auburn. I went to Auburn because the University of Tennessee didn't have a veterinary school in 1968 when I started. And so several states, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, and Louisiana, had quotas at Auburn, and there were 15 places at Auburn. So that's the number of people who got to go to veterinary school from Tennessee each year. But anyway, they delivered milk in the student housing area there, and I talked to the milkman every once in a while, and he was pretty knowledgeable about what went on the dairy farm and stuff like that, so I was interested in talking to him. And one morning he said that one of our neighbors there wanted him to leave enough milk for her to take a milk bath with. And I said, well, how'd that go? He said, well, I started turning my tablet to write her order out on the tablet, on the page there, and I asked her, I said, okay, let's see, milk for a milk bath. Do you want it pasteurized? And she said, oh, no, just about up to my navel should be enough. I can splash it the rest of the
way. Pasteurized, really?
Yeah. Pasteurized. That's a lot of milk.
So over the years, when you've gathered these stories, are you carrying a little notebook around and you hear something and go, man, that's good, and make a note? Like, how have you collected this inventory over the years?
Yes, just kind of any time I hear something that I think might turn into a tale or remind me of an experience I've had or something like that, I try to jot it down and try not to forget it, and then maybe work it up and work on how to tell the tale and how to come right down to the punchline and say it, so forth. So,
veterinary medicine is, well, one of the things you're known for, but people know Doc Hugh being a veterinarian. What steered you in that direction?
Well, being raised on a farm, we had Yorkshire Shoats and 4-H. My brother and I did, and we had shorthorn steers, and of course milking. We had that, and we got our first pony when I was 5. Daddy led that pony in the house and around the dining room table, and it had a new saddle on it. And I remember her name was Sugar, this little black Shetland pony, and I remember as she came around the dining room table, she lifted her muzzle up and looked at over the top of the table, and we said she slobbered on the dining room tablecloth, so she never got to come back in the house again. And then my brothers and I, we've probably got more time bareback than we do in a saddle riding a horse, and we had Welsh ponies, just pretty good. Had some Shetlands and Welsh ponies and horses and stuff. And children from our friends from the neighborhoods would come up to our house and ride ponies a lot. We were a popular destination for folks.
I bet.
And then I got into veterinary school. Interested in all that. One time I just thought, I'd just like to know what a veterinarian knows, whether I ever practiced or not. And it's a constant learning process. I still read articles about veterinary medicine that my practice was concerned with, just to kind of see what new developments there were and all. Mm-hmm. But I got to go to Auburn, and I'm so glad I got to go to Auburn. They have such a good curriculum, and their externship program is tops. And I wouldn't have swapped jobs with anybody. Mm-hmm. Just really enjoyed it. So
very good.
Yeah.
While I plug your concert one more time, you want to grab your banjo and get ready to do us a little ditty here?
Sure. Thanks.
Doc Hugh McCampbell, our guest on this week's On the Air program. His 17th annual Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert coming up. New songs, new tales. I'd be interested to know, after 17 years, how you keep coming up with new songs, new tales. Might be one new tale, right? Or you got a fresh new inventory?
No, I just have a couple of new tales. You have to hear a lot of things before you hear a tale. That would be something that might go in a concert. Yeah. So
March 15th, that's this Saturday, 7 p.m. at Sweetwater Broad Street Elementary School. Tickets $15, students $10, preschool free, and you can get your tickets at Salt and Light Studios, Lily Pad Boutique, Valley Building Supply, Sweetwater Flower Shop, and Sweetwater Valley Antiques. And that's coming up. And the benefits: Prostate Cancer Foundation, local Boy Scout troops, and Sweetwater Valley Citizens for the Arts. We can talk more about those organizations in just a moment. But what do you got on the banjo for us?
Well, here's a veterinary song. Alligator, hedgehog, anteater, bear, rattlesnake, buffalo, anaconda, hare, bullfrog, woodchuck, wolverine, goose, whippoorwill, chipmunk, jackal, and a moose, mud turtle, whale, glowworm, bass, salamander, snail, and a Maltese cat, red squirrel, coon, opossum, rat, black squirrel, loon, and a tough guinea hen, polecat, frog, wild otter, and bat, pelican, hog, and odo, and that eagle, kangaroo, sheep, duck, widget, condor, marabdiddle, beaver, kitten, pigeon, reindeer, black snake, ibex, nightingale, martin, wild pig, crocodile, whale, house rat, toad rat, white-tailed doe, chickadee, peacock, foal, and a crow. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Doc Hugh McCampbell, our guest on this week's On the Air. We're going to take a break, and we come back. Let's get you on the piano. Does that sound good?
Sure.
All right, Doc Hugh McCampbell. More with him right after these messages. All right, we're back here. We've moved into the big studio, front studio here at the radio station. Doc Hugh McCampbell, our guest on this week's On the Air program. His Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert coming up this Saturday, March 15th at the Sweetwater Broad Street Elementary School. We moved in here because this is where the piano's at. And Doc, you're gonna rub the ivories on this for us, aren't you?
Sure.
Tell us what you're gonna play and whatever else you're gonna say.
All right. This is Ebb Tide. This is about the first song I worked out to play like I've kind of learned how to play on the piano.
book, ain't he?
Got them dusted off there.
Now, how did you self-taught, or who do you attribute for teaching the piano and perfecting your craft?
Well, I'm pretty much self-taught, but my mother was sure an example to try to emulate. Now, she didn't sit down with me and show me this and show me that, but just a lot of it was from the guitar and knowing chord progressions there and interpolating them to the piano.
I'd like you to play a hymn here in just a minute for
Okay.
our gospel radio listeners. But
Sure.
before we do that, let's talk about the organizations that your concert benefits. Prostate
Okay.
Cancer Foundation, local
Yeah.
Boy Scout troops, and the Sweetwater Valley Citizens for the Arts. Why'd you pick those three?
Well, I'm a prostate cancer survivor, and I thought maybe I could raise a little money for them. The Prostate Cancer Foundation was started in 1993, and over the past 30 years, they've they have had several $1 billion donated to them, and they have supported 2,250 researchers at over 250 institutions in 28 countries. And so it's worldwide. And they've had 14 new therapies that they've developed, and that's 14 of the 27 that are approved by the FDA for treating prostate cancer. There are about 300,000 American men that are diagnosed with prostate cancer each year, and about 35,000 American men die. That's a new case of prostate cancer every 2 minutes, I think, and a death every 15 minutes. So it's pretty serious. And every little bit helps. I saw where the Chicago White Sox donated $1 million to the Prostate Cancer Foundation. Our contribution will fall a little short of that. And the Boy Scouts, I started in the Cub Scouts in 1952 and enjoyed Boy Scouts on up through the Eagle Scout rank and so forth, and was a long-time Scoutmaster here in Sweetwater, and I've seen so much good come from boys learning character building traits, and also just sticking to things and get a job done, and exploring a variety of different topics in the Merit Badge program. And so that's why I have the local Boy Scout troops as one of my beneficiaries. That giving money to the council helps support the camp and the expenses at the central office and so forth. But when you donate to local troops, the local troops uses that money to buy equipment and send boys to camp and do finances on the local level. And so I try to do that. I still go over to Camp Buck Tom's once a week in the summertime and teach the veterinary part of horsemanship merit badge. So that's just a little bitty cog in a big old wheel. But I was the waterfront director at Camp Buck Tom's in 1963. So I've seen a lot of changes in 60 years.
So.
Anyway, and then the Sweetwater Valley Citizens for the Arts do a whole lot for the kids in the schools, the community, and so forth. And they help with the advertising, and they're the ones that sell tickets and usher at the concert. And so I really appreciate them helping. So that's the third beneficiary.
Doc Hugh McCampbell, what kind of hymn you got for us?
Well, how about It Is Well With My Soul?
Very good. Yes, sir. Take it away, sir.
Thank you.
Doc Hugh McCampbell with us on this week's On the Air program. We're going to take another quick break. We'll come back in here and have maybe a few more tales. Doc, how's that sound?
Sure, you bet. Thank you.
All right, back here with the final segment of On the Air today. Glad you've tuned our way. Doc Hugh McCampbell, our guest in studio. His 17th annual Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert is coming up this Saturday, March the 15th, 7 p.m., Sweetwater Broad Street Elementary School. We always appreciate and enjoy when Doc comes by. He's played the piano and banjo. He told one tale. Doc, you got another one?
Sure. Yeah. When I was a little boy, we had a creek running through the farm. We boys tried to dam it up, and Daddy had a backhoe and dug out a hole below the bridge for the suction pipe for the irrigation system. So we had a swimming hole, and so we were down there at the creek a lot. And one time we were down there and had our ponies tied to the fence, and we were down in the creek fiddling around, trying to dam it up or doing something, and we were building something with a hammer and nails and lumber. And I stuck a nail in my hand, just right in the palm of my right hand, and the first thing I thought was lockjaw. So I pulled that nail out, and I started opening and closing my mouth just real quick, just like that, to see if I could keep from getting lockjaw. Mm-hmm. And so I ran up the bank with my mouth going open and shut and open and shut and open, and I untied my pony off the fence, and I jumped on her back and just kept my jaw going open like it. I figured if I get up the house and get to Mama, she could do something to keep me from she could prevent me from getting lockjaw, and I never got lockjaw.
Keep it moving.
That's a true story.
Keep it moving.
That's right. That's right.
So we heard Doc play the piano, the banjo. Now, this Saturday night, you're also going to play the guitar.
Yes.
Now, you and I both are members of the Sweetwater Kiwanis Club.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a fundraiser going to give away a guitar made by Charlie Price. Here in town. People know Charlie Price. I also remember the Kiwanis Club. Beautiful guitar.
Yes.
And you're going to play it Saturday night just to prove that it works.
Yeah, prove it'll play, yes.
Tell us about that a little bit.
It's a real fine guitar. The frets are spaced exactly like they should be. It's a 12-fret mount, which is the length of neck that most bluegrass players like, and it's got a real good design on the inside the box for supporting the structure of it, and it's just a fine instrument. I had another custom guitar maker look at it and see what he thought, and he admired Charlie's craftsmanship, the pearl inlay around the edges, and his craftsmanship with the rosewood, the mahogany, and the spruce fir top on it. And he used his little electronic tuning instrument and all, and saw that it was just in perfect tune. And so it's a real instrument, and he said that if he made that guitar, he'd have to charge about $4,000 for it. It's that caliber of a guitar. So it's a real instrument, and to pay $20 for a ticket for the drawing is not very much to spend to get a $4,000 guitar. And of course, people don't just have to buy one ticket. You can double your chances by buying two,
or triple, quadruple, whatever you want to do.
It's higher math there, doesn't it?
But people can see the guitar, they'll hear you play it, and then they can buy a ticket at the concert Saturday.
Yes, Kiwanis members will be there selling tickets, yeah. And then the drawing will be during the Bluegrass and Barbecue and...
Yeah, the BBB, the Blooms Bluegrass and Barbecue Festival, first full weekend in May here in Sweetwater.
The drawing will be. So anyway, it's a real opportunity to get a fine guitar.
Very good, very good. What other tales you got?
Well, let's see. When I was in the Army, the lady next door to us raised rabbits. We lived off post out at Fort Bliss, Texas, in El Paso, and this lady raised rabbits. And every day she'd come home from work, and she'd put on her coveralls. She liked to farm, so she put on her coveralls before she came into the backyard to feed her rabbits. And she'd go down the row of her rabbit hutches, and she'd say, "Hello, Popsy. Hello, Mopsy. Want a little carrot? How about some lettuce?" And she'd feed her rabbits, and she'd pet them, and they were just real pets. And so this, every day, that's what she did when she came off work. Well, we had a basset hound, just a picture book basset hound. His name was Cedric. Really good name for a basset hound, Cedric. And he had the droopy eyes and the floppy lips and the big old long ears and stuff like that. I got home one day a little early, and Cedric was there in the garage, and he had a dead rabbit in his mouth.
Oh, no.
and it wasn't a little tan wild rabbit. It was a black and white pet rabbit. I thought, oh no. So real quick, I went out the side door of the garage, looked over the fence into the lady's backyard, and the end hutch door was open about 4 inches. I thought, oh man, what will I do? So I got the rabbit away from Cedric. That took a little bit of tussle there. He didn't want to let go of his prize there. And I washed it off in a basin we had in the garage there and used soap and water and shampoo. And I was raised with brothers, and so I didn't know much about hairdo. But my wife had some mousse, so I put some mousse on the rabbit and scrubbed it. I tried to get all of the dirt and the chaff and the grass bits and stuff out of the fur. And I used a hair dryer to dry it. I was hurrying all the time because I didn't know what time that lady's going to get home. And so finally, I thought, well, this is about as good as I can do. So I went over and put it in that hutch, and I kind of curled the rabbit around a little bitty rabbit kind of shape, and closed the door. I closed the hutch door and ran back over to our house. And boy, it wasn't but just a few minutes till she pulled in the driveway. I thought, oh man! And so I kind of stayed there that side of the house so I could just kind of see and find out what was going on. So in a little bit, she had time to put on her coveralls and gather some rabbit food. And she came down the row of hutches there, and she say, "Hello, Romsey. Hello, Mopsy. Want a little carrot? How about some lettuce?" She came on down there, and when she came to the fourth cage, she had her carrots and her lettuce in her hand, and as she put the carrot up in the cage, she goes, "Ah!" And so she jumped back, and so I heard that, and so I went over there right quick, and she was still standing there just frozen solid with her hands out, and I said, "Oh dear." And so I felt of the rabbit in the cage, and I said, "I'm a veterinarian, and I'm afraid your rabbit has gone to the big carrot patch in the sky." And I said, "I know it's got you worried." She said, "Well, that's not what has me worried. I buried him 3 days ago."
Oh, Cedric.
Good old Cedric.
Very good. That's Doc Hugh McCampbell. I hope he's made you laugh today and then played some good music. Doc, invite everybody to your concert this weekend.
Well, I hope people can come. I enjoy getting ready for it. I never know what songs to play, what tales to tell. I've got so much material, like we'd have to send out for breakfast if I said all my material. But I kind of sort through my jokes and tales and my music, and I know what I've done in the years past, so I don't do the same show 2 years in a row. And I just pick out things that I think would be enjoyable for folks to hear, and also that I practice and playing and would be not repeating everything. And I've made 4 CDs. We'll have them for sale in case anybody wants to buy one of them. But I enjoy getting ready for these, and it's just real gratifying to have people come help me raise some funds for these worthwhile causes. So I hope y'all would come and enjoy the concert and help me raise a few funds. So thank you. I appreciate you having me on the radio,
well,
too.
Thank you, Doc. We appreciate you being here. It's Doc Hugh McCampbell, the 17th Annual Benefit Veterinary Piano Concert this Saturday, March 15th, 7 p.m. at Sweetwater Broad Street Elementary School. That benefits the Prostate Cancer Foundation, local Boy Scout troops, and the Sweetwater Valley Citizens for the Arts. Doc, one last parting word? I
appreciate the city of Sweetwater including me as one of the events in the 150th anniversary of the celebration of the starting of Sweetwater, too.
Well, you're just making that thing even more popular.
Well, that was awful nice of them to include me, putting me on their publicity, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Doc, thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this week's On the Air program with Doc Hugh McCampbell. Join us again next week, and we'll see what we can get into. Have a good day.